Countrywise. From the Scottish Highlands to the Cornish coast, we bring you stories from right across Britain.
That's a drill. All his job is mating with Virgin Queen. That's all his job is, nothing else.
What a brilliant job.
We'll be travelling off the beaten track from coast to coast to bring you some hidden gems.
I mean, I'm stuck in a goat sandwich. Quite literally, cannot move for goats.
Hello, beauties.
As we uncover some of the secrets of our wild and beautiful landscapes.
Well, crikey, you feel like king of the world up here, don't you?
Yep, there's no power steering.
This week I'm learning more about the wonders of the South Wales coast in quite an extreme way. I hate heights!
And I'm in Snowdonia, meeting the shepherds training some very independently minded sheep. Are the sheep taking to it, or are they objecting?
It is working. We have assistance offenders. We're starting to recognise them, but
One or two who just demand to go home.
While I'm in the Peak District, laying traps to vaccinate a truly iconic animal. You just never see that.
I know, so fantastic, isn't it, to see them up close?
This is Pembrokeshire, Britain's only coastal national park. It's famed worldwide for its stunning scenery, rugged coastlines and abundance of wildlife.
Most people choose to experience it by walking its miles of coastal pathways, but there is a limit to what you can see from up here. So, I'm about to take part in an activity that allows you to experience this amazing place, not from up here, but from down there, where the land meets the sea.
I'm joining a group of intrepid adventurers to try my hand at the relatively new sport of coast steering. We're heading for St. Non's Bay, a beautiful spot that lends itself perfectly to this kind of activity. Our guide is marine biologist Rachel Bott.
So essentially, what is coast steering a combination of?
It's a combination of climbing, scrambling, jumping, swimming, exploring basically, and just getting down there, getting immersed in it. It's the best view possible.
That to me looks fairly, what's the word, rough?
It's all about timing.
Yeah.
So the waves are going to come in sets. You'll see that this white water will be really churned up.
Yeah.
And yeah, it might not be the time to be in there. And then you get the lull period where it's calm and lovely. That's when we get in there and that's when we swim.
So if I'm having a wonderful time in that channel and you're like, get out!
Yeah.
And I don't get out fast enough, what happens to me?
We get you out.
Can anybody just go ahead and coast steer around the coastline, or do you have to do it with an organisation like yourselves?
You don't have to do it with an organisation. I definitely recommend it. You know, just that advice about how to judge the risks, make informed decisions, and then with a bit of safety kit, anybody could go out and enjoy the coastline.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's go get it.
I'm not the best with heights, and there's 100 feet of rugged rocks to conquer before I even reach the water.
Too low. That's good. Well done. There's a nice little step here. Kind of step down. I'm not good with this stuff.
Coast steering only became an organised activity in the late 80s, but it was right here on this peninsula near St. David's that it all began.
How did it come about? Who had the light bulb moment, yeah?
Well, it's something people have been doing for years. The old fishermen would scale down the cliffs to collect birds' eggs, but it's only until people thought, hang on a minute, we could do this for fun and actually explore the coastline in this fashion, and it's just worked really well.
Where am I going to jump from? We're going to go down here. Nice little jump. Are you happy with that? Yeah. So just keeping your hands on is always going to keep you that bit more stable. Sort of do the Mission Impossible down here. And then when I'm in, where do I go? Head over to jump. Ready for you? I'm going to be right behind you. Okay, ready? Woo! to now.
Our journey takes us around the bay, scrambling as we go, jumping off stacked rocks and tiny edges with swell rushing in the channels. This really is pure adrenaline-soaked fun.
I don't think I want to get out of the water now, Rachel. This place is just as amazing as you said it was going to be.
It's addictive.
It really is. And when you think about all that we're seeing that we will just never get that close to when you're walking up above.
I know.
Nature always puts a big smile on your face, but this is like a whole other level of, yeah! It's so much fun.
Oh, man.
So what's the plan next?
Well, I reckon we cruise around and have a look at some rock pools.
Awesome.
As a marine biologist, Rachel finds coasteering a great way to get a new perspective on the wildlife that lives along this coast.
So what are the kinds of sea life that you get most excited about in these rock pools?
All of this stuff is an encrusting algae in here.
Yeah.
And it's everything that's living on here. You've got limpets, you've got the seaweed,
What have we got here?
you've got limpets with these crazy little hairdos.
You're obviously big into marine biology. It's what you studied. What do you make of the health of this coastline?
It's amazing. It's incredible. It's a marine biologist's dream. It is rich with life all around this coastline. It's like turning the pages of an ID book. You've just got it all here.
As coasteering becomes more and more popular, as people like me become addicted and want to come back and jump off rocks with you again, what is being put in place to protect this precious sea life?
There's quite a lot of studies that have been done to show that a lot of these creatures, they grow in these really, really exposed environments, the environments that we're actually choosing also to be in. Our impact is actually minimal compared to the wrath of the sea and the surf.
See, that's a very good point. I didn't think of it that way. As long as we're conscious about how we walk across this landscape, we should be okay. Right, can we go jump off something, please?
Let's do it.
This is a wild and challenging playground, and a great way to challenge your personal limits and blow away the cobwebs. I've saved my biggest jump till last.
Okay. I hate heights!
Okay, my hands here.
I tell you what, I would never have called myself an adrenaline junkie, but this is the best type of adrenaline. My heart is beating really fast, I can't get this stupid smile off my face, and I'm completely immersed in wildlife, exploring this coastline in a unique way.
With over 10 million dairy and beef cows on farms across the UK, it's vital that we keep these herds healthy. But there's a disease experts warn threatens these cattle, and therefore the livelihoods of our farmers. And that disease is bovine TB. These cattle share this landscape with a huge variety of British wildlife. But sometimes there's a conflict between farming and nature. Here in the rolling Peak District hills, farmers and conservationists are working hand in hand to protect one of our most iconic species, the badger. Some believe that badgers can transmit the disease, passing it between the cattle they live alongside. There are now a number of schemes across the UK vaccinating the badgers so they don't contract TB in the first place. Former nurse Debbie Bailey is part of the most successful vaccination programme in the country, here in the Peak District. Hi Debbie.
Hi Ben.
How are you doing?
Pleased to meet you.
So you've gone from vaccinating people and children to now vaccinating wild animals.
Taking bloods off people, running clinics. Yeah, worked on a ward for 13 years of my career. Yeah, and then came out to do this.
I mean, it couldn't be more different, really.
In some ways it is, in some ways it's not.
What are the similarities?
The patients are awkward, whether they're a badger or whether they're a human. Yeah. But no, I love it. It's fantastic. This is what I call my office now.
Right, come on, let's get what we need. So how does this particular vaccination programme work then?
Well, in this area we've got what we call an edge area. The idea is that we get in now and vaccinate the badgers, and we can keep that TB down at a level.
Does that mean you have to vaccinate every single badger that lives here?
No, as long as we get around 70% of the social group, we're okay.
But before we can even think about vaccinating, we need to catch a badger, and that means laying some traps. So how does it work now?
Big hole there.
There's the hole right outside. So what's the first plan?
So the first thing is to get the peanuts at the back of the trap so that we can put the stone on top.
And why are you using the tube?
It's easier, just peanuts don't scatter everywhere.
Oh.
We don't want any peanuts round the trap because the badger will dig around the outside rather than go in.
You've done this before. I can tell.
A lot of times, yeah. Well, you learn as you go along. Badgers are very clever, very intelligent. Okay.
So this is the stone.
Yeah, so you've got to go in that way, and I'll get hold of the wire from the other end. And if you just hover the shovel just over the peanuts.
Just over the peanuts,
yeah. Try not to scatter them. That's it. Brilliant. Okay, and then if you pull the shovel away. Okay.
How's that?
That's fantastic. You've done this before. Okay.
So the idea is the badger comes in and it tries to move the stone, does it, to get to the...
The badger will come in, he'll kick the stone back.
They're strong, are they?
Very.
So they'll kick the stone back and that sets the trap and it closes?
Yeah, so that's set now. So I like to give it a test, so and that's how the door will drop.
As the night draws in, Debbie's carefully placed night vision cameras capture the badgers at work and play. This gives her team an idea of how many badgers live within this set, and therefore how many they need to inoculate. Some sets are more than 100 years old, used by generations of badgers, and groups of up to 14 adults can live together in one network of tunnels. But will any of these animals take our peanut bait ready for us to vaccinate in the morning? I'm in the beautiful Peak District with a project working to vaccinate badgers against bovine TB. Last night, Wildlife Trust Officer Debbie Bailey and I set several traps. By law, all trapped badgers have to be released 3 hours after sunrise, and at the height of summer, that means an early start.
Look, what have we got then?
So we've got 2 cubs in here.
Yeah.
So we'll put the wicket in the middle.
Yeah.
And then we'll split
Separate
them.
them.
Yeah. That's it. Lovely.
Okay.
Debbie injects each badger with a TB vaccine,
Well done, that's it.
and then snips away a tuft of hair and marks each animal. This means if the badger's caught again, Debbie knows it's already been vaccinated.
Down the white bit. Lovely.
There we go.
If you lift that bit, keep your fingers out of the way. That's it.
There's one. Straight down the hole. Backing out. I've never seen that.
I know, it's so fantastic, isn't it, to see them up close.
How young do you think those two were?
They'll be this year's cubs, so they'll have been born end of February, beginning of March.
What you're doing is truly unique, really. This could change the whole dynamic, this whole badger debate.
Yeah, hopefully. You know, we're being very successful with our trapping in Derbyshire. We're getting over 70%. And so if we can keep those success rates up, then we'll have a healthy population of badgers in 4 years when we're finished.
Hopefully resettle that balance between farming and wildlife.
Yeah, and that's really important. You know, have that relationship with the farmers.
Go on, you're free. The cage is open.
amazing to see badgers from that perspective so close up. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, no, I think most people, when I ask people if they've ever seen a badger, they always say, yeah, dead at the roadside. So, seeing this is fantastic.
Badgers are your life.
Yeah, definitely. Cheers.
The issue of TB in badgers has become one of the most divisive in the British countryside. But thanks to Debbie, her volunteers and countless Peak District farmers, they're getting closer to a workable solution and a world in which both badgers and cattle can live harmoniously in this magnificent countryside.
This is Snowdonia, another of our magnificent national parks, and home to one of Britain's most iconic mountain ranges. Nestled here is a very special hill farm, which is looking to the past and using old-fashioned shepherding techniques to balance the needs of farming with caring for this precious environment. Half of the plan is a sprawling 4,500-acre estate owned by the National Trust. Oh, hi.
Hi, Bob.
Good to see you. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
And how's the dog?
Oh, I think he's ready to go.
Fantastic looking farm. Shall we get on with it?
Yeah, sure. Turn him.
This place is managed by Arwin Owen, who has been a hill farmer all his life. It's been nearly, 20 minutes steep walking to get up here, isn't it?
It is, but for those carrying on to the summit of Snowdon, they're about a fifth of the way. We start from 250 feet above sea level and go up to the summit of Snowdon. And within that range, obviously, you've got a whole host of habitats. The landscape changes so dramatically.
Sheep have been grazing these slopes for centuries, typically left to wander freely. But farmers have come under increasing pressure to control more carefully where and what they allow their flocks to eat, to protect the special habitats that exist here. When you come to try and farm it, it's a challenge, that, isn't it?
It is. What we have to do is evolve to ensure that we meet the challenges of delivering good farming, good conservation, obviously that the water here is clean, and have a landscape which is available to all people.
Arwin is working alongside conservationist Sabine Nouvet, who's been studying this area's habitat for 10 years.
I think that we've oversimplified the hill farming system. The question has always been whether there's sheep or no sheep. And we really think that if you want to make sure the sheep don't eat certain plants, you actually need a person to control where the sheep graze. It's a matter of getting a bit of the grass graze down, but not too much so that the interesting plants that are in between the grasses have a chance to bloom.
Maintaining diversity of flora and fauna has an impact right up the food chain. The plant life provides habitats for insects and invertebrates, which form the basis of the diet for many animals and bird species.
The sheep are trained not to go to the most sensitive areas. The sheep are hefted. They have territories, and each sheep will go to their own heft, to their own territory. And what our shepherds are doing is they're just nudging those top sheep off the top ridges, which are the most sensitive, and they're saying, come down and re-heft. Try to have your territory lower down in the areas which can tolerate more grazing.
Sabine's work has led to this farm hiring shepherds to keep the sheep moving. Bryn Griffiths and Dan Jones have the task of shepherding the 2,000 sheep across this vast area. What breed of sheep are they?
Oh, these are Welsh Mountain. They're the only breed that'll survive up here, I think.
Tough numbers, are they?
Yeah, well, they're the toughest in the world, probably, Welsh Mountain. Come on, Joe.
And what are the challenges with being up here?
Oh, it's the terrain, really, the physical walking. It's difficult walking all day up and down mountains.
Hard on the calf muscles. And this is a kind of shepherding which will have not changed in 100 or 200 years.
No, it's a very traditional, old-fashioned way that we're doing now, so that's something that appealed to me, the old way and learning how to do it, really.
Now, although you're employing a lot of old-fashioned techniques, you're also pretty up-to-date, aren't you, in one or two of your methods?
Well, yes, we are, yes. We're using things like GPS on the dogs to see exactly where we've walked every day and measure how far we walk and things like that.
And what's that telling you?
It's just telling us the pattern, really, of how the sheep behave and where we have to move them off every day on the sensitive areas.
Are the sheep taking to it, or are they objecting?
It is working. We have some persistence offenders every day. We're starting to recognise them, but
one or two who just demand to go home. And there are promising signs that this cooperation and innovation is working.
Here you can see there's some heather and plenty of flowers, so definitely it's having a chance to bloom. And actually lower down here there's some bilberry with fruit. We've had 15 years of monitoring and we've never been able to get the heather to bloom on the tops of the ridges. In fact, we've lost heather in some areas.
And it's blooming now.
And it's blooming.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
It's not just high on the mountain where this farm is trying to exist side by side with nature. Because here they're using the most up-to-date technology to harness the natural power that runs through these hills. A hydroelectric turbine crafted into the river is providing energy which is sold to the national grid.
the water flows through the turbine and then back into the river. So all we do is borrow the water for a kilometre, take the energy out of it and put it back into the river.
I never thought of it that way before. You borrow the water for a little while. It does you a great favour and then you release it. How much electricity do you produce?
Well, we would produce enough for about 700 to 1,000 homes.
Is that right?
Yeah, and the beauty of it, we do it without having any big impact on the environment or having any negative impact, in my opinion.
Must be quite satisfying to go home and switch on the electric kettle and think, a little bit of that's my electricity that's driving that.
It is. And our rainfall here is 100 inches or 2,500 millimetres. And we used to think, oh, the rain again. But at least now it's got a silver lining.
There's a plus to the rain.
There's a plus.
Modern farming techniques have often brought farmers into conflict with conservationists. But here, combining cutting-edge technology with traditional farming techniques is benefiting the wider environment. It's a high ambition to try to bring together farming and conservation, but it's happening, and it's happening here on one of the highest farms in the whole of Wales. And not only is it happening, it's working. Next time, Ben's in the Dartmoor National Park, training with some rather special lifesavers.
Oh, girl, what you got, shall we? She's found someone.
And I'm meeting a man who restores shepherd's huts.
Got the beginnings of a new career here.
I'm having so much fun today spotting Philip in his Christmas jumper. What on earth will he be getting up to when you've been framed?
Well, keep watching and tweeting using the hashtag PipNit and ITV Text Santa every time you see Philip for your chance to win. Camcorder Chaos next with You've Been Framed.